Tonight our special guest is Nadine Plet, President of the French New Zealand Chamber of Commerce. Nadine Plet, welcome to The Beat Goes On.
Thanks very much. Thanks for having me.
Never had a wonderful French woman on the program before. This is a big honour.
Thanks very much.
And you're a French woman with the Legion of Honour.
That's correct.
That's wonderful, isn't it? We'll talk about that later on, but what I wanted to say is that my favourite thing about the French race is their wonderful national anthem. Dun, 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 dun. Wow, who wrote that?
Rouget de Lille.
Who did?
Rouget de Lille, revolutionary. Rouget de Lille.
Wow.
Yeah.
How long ago?
1789.
At the time of the French Revolution?
Yes, that became the revolutionary song. In fact, there are discussion about if it's him or not who actually wrote it, but it is given to him. Yeah.
What a wonderful song. It's just been great. I mean, I do like God Defend New Zealand. I think that's a great national anthem, but I always think that when it came to a national anthem, the French had it nailed. So, Nadine, the next question is, welcome to The Beat Goes On, as we said before, but what's a French woman living in New Zealand when we watch the Tour de France and we see this most beautiful country? They go through all these lovely villages and beautiful green fields, and I always say, oh, doesn't that look wonderful to live in France, and yet you're living in New Zealand.
Yes, that's
What's
right.
the story? How did you get here, and why are you here?
I get here, in fact, I met my husband in London.
Oh, there's always a man involved.
There's always a man, and as you know, the New Zealanders always bring the spouse or partners in New Zealand.
Yeah.
So I'm a victim of that trade. And
bride trafficking, eh?
That's right. So I've been in New Zealand since October 1986.
1986. 86. Now your husband was a Kiwi, obviously.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And what did you think of the Kiwi accent and a Kiwi man when you first met him all that time ago?
Well, I thought he was quite rude, and
he was quite rude.
But
can I apologise? We've got a politician here in New Zealand apologising for all men, you see, so I'll have to do the same today.
But up front, and yes, and that's the way he is. And so I find when I arrived here, I found the accent a bit difficult to understand. I started to learn English when I was 25, when I started to travel.
Is it a hard language, English?
I think it is, because there are no rules really. There are rules, and then as soon as you've learned it, you've got the exception, which in fact is more important than the rules. So I find it extremely difficult language to learn.
You could say, what's this thing called love? You know, you're saying, what's this thing called love? Or you could say, what's this thing called love?
That's right.
And you can say it, it's exactly the same words, but it's the way you say it. That must be very confusing.
Sometimes it is, and particularly like New Zealanders always end their phrases in a high pitch, which is contrary to proper English.
Yes.
So at the beginning I was expecting another phrase, and in fact that was the end.
We make everything sound like a question.
Yes, that's right. So I was expecting more, and yes, and that was it. So it took me a while.
But when you arrived in 1986 into New Zealand, can you remember what you thought about New Zealand when you arrived?
Yes, like I arrived on a Sunday, and my soon-to-be husband, but didn't know that yet, picked me up at Auckland Airport, which was in those days still looked more or less like a big warehouse. And we went to the Auckland Art Gallery, and it was an exhibition on the Chinese statue. And after visiting that, I asked him to go and have a drink. And he said, well, where? And I said, well, anywhere, in a cafe, somewhere, you know, like what you do in France. And he said, well, it's Sunday. And well, I said, well, yeah, that's right, Sunday. And he said, no, Sunday, it's closed. And I couldn't believe that on a Sunday, everything was closed, you know.
It's still closed.
So I went, oh my God.
So you wondered, where have I come to?
That's right. But things have changed since.
Things have changed. They have changed. We've got a cafe culture now.
Exactly.
And that's wonderful about the French. They have exported that worldwide, haven't they? Have a little cafe with seats outside.
Outside, that's right. Looking at the people walking by, and
Now, 2011, it was the World Cup in France. We're in the finals. Tell me where you were and what you were thinking towards the end of the game. Of course, you're in New Zealand, but tell us about that night.
So I was in the vineyard courtyard, and I was, of course, with my French flag and my French paints.
It was 9-8. The last 10 minutes.
And the last, I must say, the last 20 minutes, it was very quiet.
Yeah.
Because, of course, I wanted the French to win. And my husband...
He wanted the Kiwis to
wanted
win.
The New Zealanders to win. So that was quite... I was extremely disappointed, of course, but my husband was quite happy. So we just walk along Queen Street with my French flag and... but still had a party afterwards.
Now, France haven't won the World Cup yet, have they? But
no.
This 2015 could be the year?
Yes, hopefully.
You're
wish them luck.
Yeah. Now, Nadine, you're in New Zealand, and you're an intelligent French woman. You have the Legion of Honour, and you say, what am I going to do in New Zealand? What am I going to do? So what did you do?
So I created a charity in 1992, and that charity is called FRENZ School Inc. And that charity implemented the very first French-English bilingual unit in a primary school in New Zealand.
Wow.
This was an example which then was copied in 95 countries around the world. And Richmond Road was the example.
So let's get that right. You started a charity called
FRENZ School Incorporated.
FRENZ School Inc.
Yes.
And it was about teaching primary school kids the French language.
Yes.
Now, we've always had French lessons in secondary school or college, but we'd never really taught it in the primary school.
No, this is a full immersion program.
Yeah.
And it is it's teaching the New Zealand curriculum in French. So the children are already bilingual or already understand French. Yes.
Now, what was the advantage of that? How will that be advantageous to them as they grow up?
Bilingualism is underestimated skill, particularly in New Zealand. When they learn a foreign language very young and they speak it as an adult, they don't have an accent like the one I've got. So they, like for example, my daughters can switch from one language to the next, and you can't tell that they are New Zealander because they speak French fluently with no accent, and they speak New Zealand with English with a New Zealand accent.
So when your daughters, who speak beautiful French, I imagine, when they go to France, does anybody detect that they're not true French speakers? You can't detect it.
You can't tell, no.
Yeah. Now this is leads on, of course, that here's a country called France with about 60 million people. It's a trading powerhouse, isn't it? Huge businesses, and yet if you don't know your French, you can't go there and develop business connections. You've also become very much involved with the French New Zealand Chamber of Commerce.
Yes, I'm now the president of the French New Zealand Chamber of Commerce, and we are a bilateral chamber. That means we are helping and supporting businesses from France and the South Pacific, because we should not forget Tahiti and New Caledonia, who want to start or develop their businesses in New Zealand, and vice versa. We help and support New Zealand businesses who want to export to Tahiti and New Caledonia, and of course France. New Caledonia is a very strong trade opportunity for New Zealand, and they have it represents the 6th biggest market from an exporting point of view, and it's the 2nd highest export to New Caledonia from New Zealand. So it's very big market opportunities.
Competitive world out there, isn't it, business-wise? So where does France sit today?
France is actually doing quite well with their German partner, and they are a member of the European Union, so they are not on their own any longer. So any commercial or trade will be a part of the European Union trade. And France developed a lot of what is called high technology. Airbus is a very strong plane which actually is quite, being sold successfully around the world.
So, you're proud to be French.
Yes, I am.
Tell us about that pride.
I'm proud of the culture and of also of what the trade that France does or is doing. I find the French people quite smart into their business development. For example, during the Rugby World Cup with the French New Zealand Chamber of Commerce, we met with Rugby Club Aquitaine, which is a group of entrepreneurs from Aquitaine who are rugby mad, but who were here in New Zealand during the Rugby World Cup. And they are developing their businesses around that trend, which is using their New Zealand experience which they had here, and they brought it back into their trade, so into their businesses in France. So I'm proud of that kind of angle because I would not have thought about it. And it's the kind of French people, that's what they like to do. It's outside the square solution or outside the square opportunities.
Now, you're a baby boomer?
I am.
Were you allowed to ask the date that you entered this wonderful world? Is that, would that be an insult to ask a lady?
Said quickly, 57.
1950. You entered the world. You were born 1957.
Yes.
Okay. Yes, you are a true baby boomer, and thank you for coming on the program. It's the whole program is all about talking to baby boomers who are still doing things, and you are totally active, aren't you?
Yes.
Especially with the language program in the schools, and of course the Chamber of Commerce. You are a busy person.
I am.
And you took some time off to come and visit us at The Beat Goes On.
From my employer, so thanks very much.
Now, I want you to be in contact next to the Rugby World Cup, and
definitely.
we'll follow the French team through. You're not allowed to ambush us again, okay? That's against the rules, you know that.
I'm going to teach you a phrase, allez les bleus.
Sorry.
Allez les bleus, which is what we say.
Okay, you're not allowed to ambush us again. You've done it twice now, so we're really... We're a bit worried about the French, what they do to us at the World Cup. But hey, look, great to see you today.
Thanks very much.
And we'll keep in contact and we'll follow it through.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks.